welcome to Flying Wheels. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels, and this, even though it doesn't look like it, is a crashed Corvette Z06. It's actually been crashed so badly that it has a reconstructed title, which is actually the appeal of this car. That is why I'm so excited to buy this car. There's a little bit of a backstory which makes it a little bit more fun for me. For that reason, I paid almost 50% of what this car is really worth at auction last week, and I'm so excited to find out why. Maybe I shouldn't be excited, to find out why this car was so cheap. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Let's get going. So hey, welcome back. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Welcome to my Flying Wheels YouTube channel. Now you might notice this video is shot a little differently according to most of my selfie style vlogs. I now have a videographer. I now have an editor. He's helping me out making these videos look a lot more professional. So I'm super excited about that. That is not the point of this video. This right here is the point of this video. Come take a walk around. Now this is a 2008 Chevy Corvette, the C6 version of the Corvette. What makes this car so cool is not that it's a C6 Corvette, it's that it is a Z06 Corvette. The Z06 Corvette has a 7-liter, 427 cubic inch, 505 horsepower V8. It is an animal of a car that just has power to 2 rear wheels and spins like a monster. Now this car has a really weird history and we're gonna get into it. Now I own a car dealership and I buy and sell a lot of cars. I also have a drift car and I absolutely love racing cars, and I am a Corvette fanatic. So I buy and sell cars, but I also love to drive cars, which means I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this thing. Do I buy it to sell it, or do I buy it to keep it and I now have a race car? Now this car, like I said, has been in an accident. We have a Carfax history report for it, and there's a couple things that you guys as viewers have actually pointed out that I didn't even notice. Starting with this right here. This is actually a Grand Sport fender, which I didn't realize. I have no idea why. I thought, to be honest with you, the Z06 and the Grand Sport was the exact body, just the Z06 had the engine. It has the power and the Grand Sport didn't. I was wrong. There are subtle differences between the Z06 and the Grand Sport, including this fender right here. Apparently there's one vent versus the Grand Sport has 2 vents. So now this car apparently has Grand Sport fenders. I have no idea why. Now there's some really cool subtleties to this car that you don't notice that you're getting with the Z06. Starting with the front end. Now the hood scoop and the front bumper are slightly different in the Z06 versus just the standard C6s. They're a little bit more aggressive. You're also getting bigger brakes, better suspension, and obviously nicer wheels right here. Along with that, you're getting this trim along the edge that goes up right here and catches the debris along the wheels and the side vented spoilers. Let's see if they go all the way through. Typically, these are meant to cool your brakes, and I don't see that they go all the way through on this side. Now we have giant calipers, we have race suspension, and this fender flare goes all the way over here. So this car is wider than the standard C6. Now there's some weird things about this car. You'll notice the red and the blue everywhere. Someone was a fanatic about blue and red. Again, here, that is an aftermarket badge. That is an aftermarket sticker. This right here is an aftermarket badge. So somebody went crazy with Z06 stuff, and you can actually see on the factory Z06, somebody painted this blue too. So I wonder if this chips right off. It does, it chips right off. Now I didn't know much about this car when I bought it, so part of this video is to figure out how bad is it? How bad was the accident? And what are we in store for? Let's check out the Carfax. Now I can pull the history and it tells me what the history is on the Carfax. Now a retail value based on this history is still $33,590. If we scroll down, you can see it has a branded rebuilt title from a prior collision. 3 owners, and what's nice is it tells us where it came from. Now, if you look here, damage reported on a severe scale at around 1,700 miles. So it was actually in an accident around 1,700 miles back in 2009, so it was only a year old. And if you read here, it hit a stationary object, hit a light support pole, damage to the front, damage to the right front, and damage to the roof. So if we go right here, that makes sense why that fender was replaced. And it does seem like there is a gap here more than there is here. So this fender is off slightly, but everything is still tight. I mean, the headlight lines are great. So this fender has been replaced. And then I'm assuming hood, headlights, and they said damage to the roof too, but I see no damage to the roof. One thing that stuck out to me really quickly, these are made out of fiberglass, and you can see that it is broken right here, so we're gonna have to fix that as well. And I'm gonna get rid of all the blue. So this car is gonna be red and black with some chrome accents, and that is it. Now, as far as the interior goes, I love these type of door handles. Now, these typically break, they kind of wear out. The electronic door handle doesn't open sometimes, but it's pretty simple to change out. It's just a Phillips and a Phillips, and then they plug and play. So you plug in a new one. It's super simple if those ever go wrong on your Corvettes. Or the Z06 seats, I do have a rip right here, which is kind of a bummer. Dang, I don't know what would have caused that. But everything's in pretty good shape. I mean, the seats really aren't that worn. It does only have 49,000 miles. What I do like about this car is the fact that the stereo has actually been replaced. So we have a Kenwood head unit with a subwoofer, and if I move the fire extinguisher, they hid the amp in here. Look how clean that amp is in there. You'd never know that was there. And it sounds pretty amazing when I'm driving down the road. Always have a fire extinguisher. I saved a Dodge Challenger by having a fire extinguisher. Just found this Challenger on fire, and luckily I had a fire extinguisher in my truck from my boat, and my Nissan 240 caught on fire, and I didn't have a fire extinguisher. Actually, I did, because it was my race car, and I completely forgot that I had a fire extinguisher, and it went up in flames. Now, you'll see here too, some of the clear coat is faded around the spoiler, all here, which is kind of a bummer, because that's not something I'm gonna repair. I'm not willing to repaint spoilers and bumpers. Now, I'm gonna take this car for a test drive. We actually haven't really driven much of these cars before. I've never owned one of these Z06s. I've actually only owned a C5 Z06, which is the previous generation, 400 horsepower. So what's an additional 100 horsepower and a few years worth of newer technology really like? What's the experience like? Now, I have a C8 Corvette, newest body style, unbelievable technology, and it feels like a supercar. I wonder how this compares to my new C8. What I do like is the push to start, which hasn't always been working for me. Let's see. Come on, baby. There we go. I wonder if it's because it has such a large displacement that it's harder to start like an older muscle car, or if it's just a low battery. I don't know yet. I actually haven't been in a 7-liter Z06. This is a C6 Z06. 7-liter, which is a 427 cubic inch V8 with 500 horsepower. Jeez, look, I'm gonna cause an accident. An already crashed car. I've never driven one of these cars, so I've had C6s, and the 6-liter that came in these cars were pretty quick and powerful. They're super reliable. They had about 400 horsepower. The Z06 is a 7-liter, which is a 427 cubic inch V8. Monster of an engine, all aluminum block, aluminum heads. I mean, this is a real race car. Now, I have a 2021 C8, so I'm curious to see how this car compares to my C8. This doesn't have near the modern technology that my C8 has, obviously. This is more like visceral muscle, power to the rear wheels, and spin and go. And I'm kind of tempted to keep this car because it's a completely different animal than what my C8 is. I've actually never driven this car, and it's winter and it's cold, and I just hope we don't put another accident on the Carfax report. First, I'm afraid to spin the wheels, to be honest with you. Jeez. This car actually has more horsepower than my C8, and it's also a larger engine too. Comparing my C8, when I say C8, the newest body style Corvette, 6.2 liter V8, 7 liter V8 in this one. Now this has basically summer tires on it, and I'm driving this thing in January on salty roads. So number one, I don't want to go over the speed limit, but number two, I have to be careful around the turns, so I'm not really going to get a full experience of how this thing handles, just because I want to be cautious and I don't want to break any laws. The other great thing about this car is a manual transmission. That is not an option in the new body style Corvettes. You cannot buy them in a manual transmission. You can only get them in automatic. So to have this type of power in a Corvette in a manual transmission, it's a whole different experience. Listen, I am a semi-trained professional on a closed course. Do not do that stuff on the main roads, all right? You're gonna get yourself in trouble, or worse, hurt yourself or someone else, or crash your car, all of which are absolutely terrible to see or hear. Now, from doing that, I do have a check engine light on now, and my tachometer doesn't work. I don't know why. We're gonna take it back to the shop and figure it out. The next video, we're gonna bring this thing back to life. Now, the problem is, and like I had said before, I have a Nissan 240SX with an LS1 Corvette engine, standard transmission. That is my drift car. It caught fire 2 years ago. I haven't used it in 3-4 years. I own this thing for as much as I own that stupid race car that I don't use. I could actually use this as my race car. It will be more reliable, more fun, and it'll actually be less money than my Nissan is. So I don't know whether or not I should fix this up and sell it for a profit, or fix this up and keep it as my race car. I'm not gonna race my C8. It's just too nice. I love that car. I don't want to abuse it. This thing, with a weird history and super reliable 500 horsepower that's clean, fun, safe, reliable, I kind of want to keep it. What do you guys think I should do with it? Next video, we're bringing this thing back to life. So if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe down below. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram. You would have already known I had this car had you been following me on all my other social media. So make sure to check those out with the links down below. So for now, adios. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching all of my content. I really appreciate it. If you check out these two videos right here, one is your best recommended video for you, and the other is a fun playlist. If you click the button in the middle, that is to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.